Hey guys, welcome back to Ravenclaw Reads. I'm Courtney, and today I'm going to be giving you my June wrap-up. June was a really great reading month for me. I didn't really have expectations because I've been reading quite a few books each month, and so I was okay slowing down a little bit in June, but that just didn't happen. I ended up reading 21 books in June, and very excited about that. Not just because of the number, because I'm not only about the number, but because I think I read some really great books and I stay true to myself in my reading, so I always love reading months like that. So I'm going to go through the books that I read and kind of tell you what I rated, what I remember about them. And if you want to know more in depth about each book, go back through my June weekly reading vlogs because I talk about them as I'm reading them. So this is just the wrap up to tell you what I read. And hopefully you can comment down below if you read any of these books or if any of these now sound interesting to you. I would love to hear from you. I'd love to comment in the comment section, respond to you guys, because this is a reader community that I love to take part in. So the first book I read in June was completely out of my norm. I read Yellowface by R.F. Kuang. I have never read an R.F. Kuang book. I do own Babel. I got it from Book of the Month and have been way too intimidated to read it, but Yellowface was such a well-written book. I think I raved about this. I ended up giving it 5 stars, and this book follows 2 would-be authors who are sort of in a journey together. One makes it big. She's an Asian American author. The other, a white woman, does not. The Asian American author has a tragedy, dies, and the white woman, kind of takes over a manuscript that she finds. That is not a spoiler because all of that is part of the synopsis, but the intricacies of this story were really fascinating to me, and I enjoyed that perspective. Those that, I don't know if I mentioned it on this channel, but a lot of my work is in diversity, equity, and inclusion, and so reading books like this are like, it really like clicks and sinks for me. Highly recommend. I rated it 5 stars. Next up, I read Secretly Yours by Tessa Bailey. I had this one on my Kobo for a while and I just couldn't get through it, so I ended up buying the physical copy and breezed through it. I think I did like in 1 or 2 days. I gave it 4 stars. It was a really cute romance. If I remember correctly, we have like a guy coming back to his hometown and a woman who's lived there, and they kind of reconnect and rekindle. She's kind of always had a crush on him when he lived there when they were in high school, and now they rekindle, so that was a 4 star for me. And then kicking off for summer, June being summer, I read the Babysitter's Club Super Special number 2, which is Babysitter's Summer Vacation by Anne M. Martin. I give that 5 stars. That was one of my favorite super specials when I was a kid, but I also really enjoyed the one where they do the play, If You Know, You Know, and so I gave that 5 stars. So I was starting off the month pretty strong. So June was the month of books. I had a ton of books on my Kindle. I was buying a ton of books, and I was just like more into the process of buying books than actually reading them, unfortunately. I also found a Instagrammer, Daily Ebook Deals, that will tell you all the books are on sale each day, and that's just causing all kinds of problems for me. But lots of new books this month because I was into buying them. But after the Babysitter's Club book, I ended up reading The Nanny by Lana Ferguson. This book follows, I don't know any of the people's names, follows our lead character. She is nannying for a guy. I think she's in school, but she used to have an OnlyFans page, and she finds out that he was like her top subscriber. And so obviously awkward. It is a romance, so you put the pieces together. I ended up giving that 4 stars. Really cute. Very adult. Okay, next up I read Summer Reading by Jenny McKinley. I ended up giving this 3 stars, and honestly, I'd have to read the back again to remember what this is about. So I'm going to try to pull it up real quick. Okay, this was 3 stars because I can barely remember it, but it's about a girl. She goes back to her hometown or just to a quiet town, and she gets a crush on a guy who's a huge book guy, and she's not. And so like he was really sweet though, like in the book in general. And he like recited book quotes to her and like all of the bookish boyfriend things you want them to do. But it just didn't hit entirely. It was 3 stars. And it's so funny because I saw this book at Barnes & Noble like last weekend and was telling my oldest I need to get it. I already read it, so it did not leave an impression. Okay, next up I read The Matchmaker Summer by Annie Raines. I gave this 4 stars. This is a really cute YA about a girl who goes to summer camp with her mom. Her mom owns a summer camp, and she ends up falling in love with the bad boy who's sort of serving time at the summer camp for some things that he did. I think he vandalized the camp area. This book was 4 stars, not 5, only because of the ending, which I won't give away, but it does not end in a pretty little bow, which not all books have to, but it seemed like it was going to go that way and it didn't, so it threw me off. I mean, some people would give bonus points for throwing you off, but for me, I was just like, well, what's actually happening? Then after that, I read The Mystery at Claudia's House. I gave this 4 stars. I've talked about this a ton, but one of my favorite podcasts is Stuck in Stony Brook. And they talked about this book, and I had not read it before because as a kid I didn't read the mysteries. I just read the straight series, and so now I'm kind of reading all over the place. But this was really cute because it wasn't a mystery really at all. It was all about Janine having her first boyfriend and trying to hide it, and so I thought that was really cute. And I just love the Claudia stories, so I'm always here for it. All right, next up I read Hostel Taco Over by Gretchen Allen. I heard about this on one of my booktuber reading sprints, and I do like cozy mysteries. I kind of have to be in the mood for them, but I do like them, especially when they're so short. This book, it says by Gretchen Allen, ended up giving it 2 stars. And the person who recommended it also noted that this is the first book in the series and it's not the best. Oftentimes with the first book in the series, it's not as good. You're just trying to get a lot of information. But this one was a little bit excessive. It was just so much buildup of like how our main character has a taco truck and how it all came to be, that like the murder didn't even happen to like 60% in. And so that doesn't leave a lot of time to figure it out. I also don't like stories where the murder happens 2% in and now you have, 96% to figure it out. I don't like those. I like it just right in the middle. Give me like a sweet spot, like 12% in, solve it by the 70%, give me some lead up to the 90%, and then give me 90 to 100% of acknowledgments and epilogue or the preview to the next book. That's my ideal situation. After that, I picked up Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow by Gabrielle Zevin. I ended up giving this 5 stars, guys. I was so impressed by this book. Obviously, this has been everywhere. It's been popular. And I didn't really know what to expect. I knew it was about gamers, and that's about it. And the one thing that I said in my vlog, and I still stick to, is that people kept saying this is a good book, but nobody would say why or what it's about. And really, this book is about love, heartache, friendship, and it's about the ups and downs that go on in life. It is kind of dark though, and so I didn't even know it was a dark book, so I think it's important to name that. And I would say there's a trigger warning in here, especially if you are averse to violence, and I am averse to violence, and so I was triggered, and I really had to push through because the book is well written, but it was like, oh, gave me an icky feeling in my stomach. Okay, then I had a work trip that I went on in the month, and so I listened to Life's Too Short by Abby Jimenez. I've been on my Abby Jimenez grind for a minute because I really enjoy her style of writing, although both books that I've read of hers have been on audio when I was taking a work trip, but still, you get the point. I thought this was really cute. I thought the couple was cute. I want to read the other one in this series, and Abby Jimenez is from Minnesota, writes about Minnesota. I live in Minnesota, so I love hearing about things that are local. After that, it was like new release season, so I read Love Theoretically by Ali Hazelwood. I gave this 4 stars. I thought it was good. Ali Hazelwood is one of those authors to me. She's always going to be 4 stars. She's always going to lose me somewhere in the middle. There's always like a villain in her stories that doesn't need to be, but overall I like them and I keep getting them, so they must be decent. Then I took a real left turn and read A Good Girl's Guide to Murder by Holly Jackson. I rated that 4 stars. I read that just on a whim. I picked it up from Target. It was at a good deal price, and I really liked it. I thought it was fast moving. I thought the characters were likable. I thought the murder situation was interesting. And originally I thought I was not going to read the second book, but I have in fact picked up the second book to read this month. After that, I read Claudia and the Middle School Mystery just for a palate cleanser. Ended up giving this 3 stars. I just didn't like it at all. I've noticed the lower number Claudia books are not my favorite because I don't like the way she's written. And the issue in here was so insignificant. It was just basically about cheating on a test. And so not my favorite. Then after that, I read The Infinity Between Us by Ines Perkins. I had this book on my Kindle for a while because it was on Kindle Unlimited, and then I ended up just buying it because the cover's pretty, to be honest, and I gave this 3 stars. It was just okay. I think I said this in my vlog too, but it's very much a mix between The Summer I Turned Pretty and Every Summer After, and it came out sort of all in that same time when all that was really popular. So if you've read one or both of those, you don't need to read this book. You'll probably give it a 3 or less. If you haven't read them, I suggest reading it, testing it out, because you'll probably love it, but I just thought it was kind of a knockoff. And then after that, I read The Off Limits Rule by Sarah Adams. That's on Kindle Unlimited, and I've also been in my Sarah Adams grind. She's hit or miss for me, though. Like, some of her books are really good. Like, I didn't like When in Rome, but I did like Practice Makes Perfect. Is that what it's called? What was it? Yeah, Practice Makes Perfect. But this book was a 4-star for me. I really liked it. It's really about 2 people dating, and the guy is, what is he? Is he brothers or friends with, the girl's brother's best friend that's the trope. So it's the brother's best friend, and the brother tells the friend, like, you cannot date my sister, and then they go for it anyway because it's off limits. Okay, then after that, I picked up The 5-Star Weekend by Ellen Hildebrand. This was my Book of the Month Club add-on from last month, and I do like Ellen Hildebrand. I gave this 3 stars, though, because now this is my this is like my 5th or 6th Ellen Hildebrand book, and it was just an Ellen Hildebrand book. If you've read her books before, you know the deal. It's kind of the same, and it was that this time, so 3 stars. It was fine, but it was just her style of book. Then I read Marianne Mrs. Logan, number 46 in the Babysitter's Club series, and I gave that a 3 stars. Again, I don't really remember that one, to be honest. Then I decided to reread It's Not Summer Without You by Jenny Han. This is the 2nd book in the Summer I Turned Pretty trilogy. That 2nd season is coming out next week, so I'm super excited to watch that with my oldest. And so I wanted to reread it and just like remember what the whole story was about and feel all the feels. And it was good. It did serve 5 stars. After that, I read She Started It by Sion Gilbert. I gave it 3.75 stars. This is a thriller I got from Book of the Month Club. I thought it was good. The characters were giving Mean Girls, but it was just like not amazing. But it kept my attention, so that's good too. Then after that, I read Dawn's Family Feud by Anne M. Martin. I gave that 4 stars. This story was really good. It's number 64 in the series, and it's about Dawn and Marianne sort of conflict and bringing their families together as they take their first big trip together. And Dawn's little brother Jeff is back in town from California, so they kind of have an alliance against Marianne. And I thought it was really real, because so far all of the combining of the families has been such a happy moment, and it's not always that way. So I thought that was a really real depiction, and the B plot actually matched the same scenario, and the B plot does not always do that. For those that read, you know, sometimes the B plot can be all over the place. And then the last book I read in the month of June was What Happens After Midnight by Kate L. Walther, and I gave that 1 star. So I rarely give 1 stars, but I honestly did not enjoy this book. It didn't excite me. It didn't entertain me. I just didn't like it. It took me a few days to read it. It lost me in the middle, but it's really about seniors in high school pulling a prank as like their last hurrah. There's a romance in behind the scenes, but like the journey to get to the prank was so long. Like, it was a nighttime prank, and I swear it was the longest night ever. It was just so long. So I didn't understand that. And then it like took a whole nother turn, like a medical turn that didn't need to happen either. So it was just like not my cup of tea. So those are the 21 books that I read in June. Comment down below if there's any of the books that you think you might want to read. I'm going to link my Goodreads so that you can check these out, because the last time I did a wrap up, no, it was not my wrap up, it was my July TBR. I about burned out my computer taking screenshots of all the books I'm going to read. So I don't have pictures here, but I will link my Goodreads so that you can see what I've been reading and you can follow me and become my friend on there. Until next time, guys, I will see you. Stay tuned for my vlog on Sunday. Thanks so much for my new subscribers. I hope you enjoy the content. If you're watching, checking this out, go ahead and hit the subscribe button, be a part of the community, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye, guys.